All right, I've talked in the past about how to use judo in a self-defense setting, and I may have mentioned a lot of different concepts about it, but having a little bit of defensive knowledge against a striker is very, very important. Now, when you're defending yourself against someone that might be skilled or might be really athletic, it's important to know who you're really defending yourself against, right? If the person's a boxer, you're never going to be able to catch their hands, right? But knowing the basic movements of parrying the hand and blocking the bicep, and then if you can do a lot of the basic boxing stuff, great, right? And I've mentioned you could indirectly train a lot of this stuff through judo, right? Through grip fighting and hand-eye coordination stuff. But I'm going to explicitly teach you some of these skills for the two most common strikes that may get thrown at you. Okay, so in a bow, usually be in sort of a regular orthodox position. I'm going to take the opposite of that. Okay, if I'm right-sided judo player, I'm leading with my right leg, which is a little bit different from being a right-handed puncher. You're going to have your right leg back and you're going to throw, right? Judo right, boxing right. Okay, I'm going to take my judo right stance because that's the goal. I'm not really trying to punch him with my dominant hand, even though I box southpaw. Right? I'm going to take this hand, I'm going to keep my hands up, okay, as if I'm gripping, okay? But I'm going to keep my hands a little bit higher in order to protect my face. Easy jab coming in, boom, simple parry. Okay, jab, parry. Okay, jab, parry. Okay? Simple parry, boom. All right? Huge looping right hand, hand to bicep. Okay? It's very important though, if I'm parrying with this hand is up protecting this side of my face. If I'm looking to defend against that huge loop and right, this other hand is protecting my other side of my head, okay? All too commonly, if he's throwing that hand, and if I go like this, and if I leave this opposite side of my head completely vulnerable, right, boom, another punch comes, and then I'm going to be done. Okay, so keeping the hands up, same idea with the gripping. Okay, you're coming in here, you're grip fighting, sleeve, lapel, right? You're protecting this side, protecting this lapel, right? Doing all this stuff, really, really important. Okay, so as if I'm standing here and if I want to do my judo against Eugene and he's like, hey, what's going on? I'm causing some trouble, right? Obviously I know by his stance, right, that he's going to be right-handed. Naturally I'm going to want to circle away from his dominant side there. Okay, he may throw a jab if he knows what he's doing, but I'm ready for this, okay? Throw a jab, boom. Okay, I'm parrying the hand with my lead hand, okay? If my hand is on the outside of his hand here and he throws his hand, it's a lot easier to parry. Same concept. As if your hand is camped out and the left hand is coming from that lapel, it's very easy to parry this because you know where that hand is going to be. My hand's going to be on the outside here, jab, parrying the hand. Okay? Looping right hand, hand to bicep, my hand goes up, right? Boom. And now look, I can close that distance, and now this is judo territory here. Okay? Right? And you transition to newaza. Right? Important note, when you're throwing someone in a self-defense situation, you want to prevent the overthrow. Okay, if I throw him with a nice koshiguruma, after that looping right hand comes over here, boom, and if I throw him koshiguruma, rah, and then if I rotate over, I'm going to be on my back. Okay? So, doesn't matter when you're in a street fighting setting, right, if you threw the person ippon or not, it really doesn't matter. The tip here, right, or maybe standing, right, if he throws a jab first, boom, and a looping right, boom. When I go koshiguruma, when I throw him, I drop my hip down to the floor right away. Okay? When I throw him, boom, I drop this hip down to the ground in order to create this cross-body control. Okay? That's generally going to help you resist the turning, the overthrowing. Okay? If I throw up and through, and if my goal is to bring his back to the floor and then make sure that he goes across his back, that's going to create this momentum here. Okay? But if I throw with the intention of keeping him flat on the ground, right, stay right there. If I throw and then I look to drop my hips down next to his hip, with the cross-body control, it's going to help me a lot in preventing me from getting overthrown. Okay? Let's look at it with this crash mat, because I don't want to throw my entire body weight down on Eugene. Right? Eugene's going to be here. I'm going to throw Eugene in this direction with a big, big, big koshiguruma, right? And dropping my hips down to the ground. Okay? This is what you shouldn't do. Koshiguruma. Okay, you don't want to do that in a self-defense situation, because then he's going to end up on top. Same idea. I'm going to rotate my hips through, but with the cue, I'm going to give myself the cue of dropping this butt down to the ground. Okay, so facing that this way. Koshiguruma. Okay, I'm sitting my butt downward, right? So notice I'm throwing with force, but I'm not throwing over and through. Okay? So here's some tips, basic tips, on how to use some of your judo in a self-defense setting. Notice it wasn't all too complicated, but don't expect to be able to parry duck and then grab the arm against someone that's a truly skilled striker. Okay? That's a whole other thing. Let's just say, for instance, though, usually he's very, very skilled. He comes out to me. Ah! Right, there we go. Now I've closed the distance. Right? I don't want to get into this situation. The guy really knows how to throw hands. Okay? You want to give him a reaction up top. Ah! And then shoot it on the leg. And then, of course, there are going to be people in the comments. Oh, man, I would time a knee. All this stuff. Yes, there's many, many different things that can potentially happen. But who are you really defending yourself against, right? If you're constantly being bombarded and attacked by professional MMA fighters, you're probably doing something wrong, right? Generally speaking, most of the time, you're going to have to defend yourself against someone that's sort of kind of a street thug that really doesn't understand the risks of a physical confrontation, right? Those people tend not to be really skilled, right? Anybody who's ever walked into a boxing gym and got the shit kicked out of them, those guys are like, okay, there's people who could do this to me. Maybe I shouldn't start a fight with anyone, right? It's a very humbling experience if you trained in any sort of martial art. So the more you train, the less likely you are to put yourself in a position where you're attacking anybody. So yeah, it's very important to know who you're defending against, and these are some of the basics that you can implement right away in order to make your self-defense judo a lot better. Right? Is that long? Too long?
It was a little long.
Yeah, it's how long?
How long was it?
7 minutes, damn.